we're going to do the rails next. So this is one I did earlier. So just to show you, there are these kind of upright pieces you can see here. There's one here, another one here at the corner, at this corner, and at this corner. And those upright pieces raise the rail up and away from the actual landing and steps. So that's why we have those. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to find the matching rail pieces, and you'll have one for each side. So you may have to just kind of play with it and see how it all matches up until you get used to it. But this is a pair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these two pieces together, but I'm going to use this piece. This long piece doesn't have a flag bottom, just this nice long piece to do that. This is this piece that has like a flag piece. This is going to go here, and that's going to allow us to attach it to our bottom step. So the first thing I want to do is put a drop of glue here and here at the end of this piece here. I want to take this piece, and this is going to be like this. It's going to be folded at a 90-degree angle, and it's going to be with the left side on that piece. And our if you have any patterning on your paper, if it's got like texture or whatever, you'll want that on the inside of the fold. So then you want to take this piece, you can fold it in half because it'll make it much easier to line up, and line it up at the top. It's not very much place to glue here. At the top and at that edge, and at the bottom, and at that edge. Okay. And just hold it and let it get a good set. Okay. All right. While that is setting, because I need to make sure that it's got a really good set, I'm going to attach this piece to the other end of the rail. Okay. In this case, it's going to end up folding over flat. It's going to sandwich the bottom part of this rail in between this rail and itself. Okay. So for that, I can run a bead of glue basically all the way up the score here. Okay. I'm sandwiching this so that the flag part sticks toward the rest of the rail. Okay, so that I want the left side of the rail all the way to the top. Just make sure that it's pushed all the way in, otherwise it'll come out crooked. You don't want that. That's about as good as I'm going to get it. It's not perfect, but okay. So that's done. Now this hopefully is dry by now. Okay, I'm still coming off on that one end, so I'm going to just reattach that. It's very important that this be glued down nice and well, because it's only a tiny little piece that can grab, and it will come off pretty easy if it's not. You haven't given it enough time. So while that sets and while that sets, I'm going to use this one. Okay, and this one is going to be like the opposite side. So make sure I've got my textures where I want them, and it's going to be the same idea. We're going to be putting the flag toward the inside, and I'm going to use one of my long pieces with the texture folded toward the inside, and I want to attach that piece to a long piece. It's going to open toward the remainder of the rail. Unfortunately, I get glue on my fingers and then it pulls up. Use silicone finger. Okay. Okay, I'm going to let that sit. Okay, and this is, again, this is how we're going to be connecting it, like this. So we'll let that sit, and hopefully now this piece has got a nice grip on it. Yep, it does. Okay. Okay, so at that point, I'm going to glue the other side of this upright against this one. Okay, so I'm just going to open it up and glue it against that edge. Make sure that your rail lines up at the top. Okay, let that sit. We do the same thing over here. Do we have a good grip? Okay, we can go ahead while that finishes setting and put this piece on. Okay. So we can go ahead and put the piece on here on the end of our slant rail. And again, I'm just going to put a bead of glue up the entire length of that score line. Line it up to the top. Shove it in all the way so it's flush against that score line. Okay, and by now this hopefully is glued on well, so we can put glue along here. Push this up completely against it. Line it up nice and even. Push this over, and you'll see that there is a little bit of a corner here. I'm going to just snip that off if it bothers me, and it probably will, so. Okay, let's let that sit. And here's what I was talking about. This little tiny corner over here. If you don't want to see that, snip it off. I don't have it designed to have that corner piece because then I'd have to pay attention to which upright I'm using, and I'm too lazy to do that. It's easier just to snip this off. There. Okay, fixed. Right, so these are our stair rails. We still have a couple more pieces to put on with the short uprights. What I want you to do is find where this bends. Okay, and you're just going to put a short upright right on that fold there. So basically, it will be at a 90-degree angle when it's opened, and you just want to have it grip. You can just have it grip at the top and the bottom. If you've got a significant piece of rail that it can grab to, you can put a little glue there too, but generally you won't always. So make sure that you have glue on the top and on the bottom where it's folded. Then maybe you can put a little right along this edge because it's going to reach over there. Then take that piece and fold it over. Push it all the way into where the score line is on the top. Push it all the way into where the score line is on the bottom. Hold it. Hopefully you won't glue it together, but if you do, we'll use our X-Acto knife or a spatula and we'll open it back up. Okay. So once that's done, just open it. You're going to open it back up to a 90-degree angle, and that piece is on. As you see, the short piece and a long piece. And then we're going to do the exact same thing on this fold over here. Again, a short piece. Make sure that you've got a nice strong score line fold on it. Okay. And in this case, we're going to have almost all of this rail to work with, so that will be good. We can definitely put some glue on this rail and on either side of the fold. Line it up to the top. A little tricky. I mean, if you can't work with tiny pieces, it's going to be a challenge. Hold it at the top and bottom especially. Then if you want to, you can open it up, and on the side where you had the rail, you can push down a little extra on that side to glue it on. So you get the idea. You're just getting this rail attached as best you can. And because of these gaps, you won't always have the full length. In fact, most of the time you won't have the full length. So just do the best you can to get those on. Let's let these two dry. We'll put on the two pieces over here, again using the short rails. We're just going to do that same process. Okay, this one might have a little bit of rail to grab onto. Okay. Glue it at the top. And maybe right along that edge. Don't want to overshoot it because then you'll see the glue, but it does give it a little extra strength if you can pull it off. Okay. Obviously, you don't want to pull it off. That's the point. Okay. All right, pushing it in all the way to where the score line is. I'm doing the same thing on the bottom. You are lining it to the top. Make sure they're all facing the same direction. Make sure you can still open it and get that 90-degree angle. And now this one is done. We can put one on the end here. If we put one on the end here, it would allow us to attach it to the landing itself. If you want to attach it directly to the wall, you don't have to. We'll stick one on, won't hurt. So I'm just going to put some glue on this rail over here and fold this over. Again, you don't have to do this if you're going to attach your railing, if you're going to glue that railing to the wall and back. This is only if you're doing something like I'm doing and you just want the extra support in the meantime. Okay. All right. And in this case, it's going to fold over all the way. You can also leave it open if you want as an extra space for gluing to your wall. Probably don't need that though. I think it looks better this way. Okay, so this railing is done. This railing is done, except I am going to put another short piece over here. Again, the simplest way probably is just run a bead right down the score line and place it, fold it over the end. Okay. All right. We have our railings ready to go on. So we're going to attach the railing now to the base. The back tends to be a little flimsy, so let's just be careful when you're working with it. I'm going to put on these corner pieces first. Now to make sure that I get it right at the top of where I need it to be, I just want to fold up one of these tabs temporarily, but I'm still going to put glue on it. Okay. Start with the back here, and again, be a little gentle. These are very tiny tabs, but line it up, hold it so it gets a good grip. And you can go ahead and glue the back of this one also, if you decided you wanted to put that on. If not, then this piece of rail would just be glued to whatever wall or whatever you were gluing it to in the rest of your structure, your door area. Okay. All right. So then we're going to do this piece here. Again, to help me line it up, I'm going to fold this tab up to where the tab is, the top of the tab. That will help me align it so that my gap stays consistent. And I'm going to put glue on both of those tabs. Actually, if I fold them both up, I'll be able to put glue on both of them. And I'll fold one of them down, and then I'll fold the other one down. Okay. So line it up so the top of the tab is at the top of your landing, and just glue it there to the corner. Okay. That's in place. Now, if you would want to, one thing you can do is you can add an upright in here. Oops. Okay. Let that sit for a second. You could add another one of these short uprights. Find the short upright here. You get a short upright in the middle here. And that would, I can show you here, that would help stabilize this. You can if you want to. That's up to you. I'm not going to do it for this demonstration. But if you think that your rails are looking a little flimsy, you can certainly add uprights. Okay. Now that's hopefully glued down well. We're going to put glue, I'm going to open this up flat so that I can get to it. I'm going to put glue pretty much all to the bottom of this piece here, because I want it to glue to the back of the landing, and then I'm just going to put it on the tab part of this one. And then bring this in. Again, you want to keep it so that you are at the top of your tab where that stair is. Then the last piece is this little flag piece here, and that's a little extra wide just to allow for any tolerances in, gluing. The thickness of the paper can make a difference. So what you want to do is just slide that out until your rail looks fairly straight. A little fudge factor in there. And just bring it down to the bottom. Okay, so it'll be like this. So that's your first rail, and you're going to do exactly the same thing for the second side. Okay. For the second side, again, it's going to go on like this, and we'll just glue all the pieces in place. So we're going to start by folding up our tabs putting glue on them. May as well fold up these tabs while I'm at it, just to help me align things. Okay. We'll start with these two and this one. And that is our back corner. The corner, top of the tab, top of the tab. We get these three pieces. So for this very back one over here, since we're using, this is actually a 1/4 inch lip on here. Since that's a 1/4 inch lip and we're using 1/4 inch tabs, it's going to go right to the bottom of it. If you change your tab height or whatever, it may not have the same lining up. Right, and this piece, okay, put it at the corner, push this piece down. I left this tab up so I could align it to the top of the landing. Now I'll glue it down. Make sure that's attached well. Then on this piece, okay, I'm going to put glue on the bottom of the tabs and also on this side a little bit up. Okay, this one will be folded at a 90-degree angle into that corner over there. Okay. And finally, this one over here, put some glue on the edge of that little flag piece and just bring down your rail to where it looks nice and straight and go ahead and glue it on. Okay, so just hold it till it sets well. Okay, so now you've attached your rails. Okay. This one seems a little loose over here. Part of the reason for this looking a little odd is that the back piece is not yet in place, and once that's in, it will hold it a little bit better. Okay, so now we can just put on our decorative pieces. So here's our decorative pieces. I made mine with brick pattern. This is one I print myself. So I think what I started out with a large brick, and I took a photo, actually affinity photo, and I shrunk it down and made it all into little tiny bricks. Ones that were a little bit more appropriately sized for kind of shapes that we do. Slide it in there like that. Again, have to be a little gentle. The back is not on yet, so it's a little bit fragile in the back here. And these two pieces come around the side like that on the landing. The back piece and the landing sides might end up being very close to the same size depending on your settings. Just the landing pieces have these score marks in. Stairs this side. And you can see that that's going to cover up all of those places that you attached your railing, so it won't be as visible. Other side landing. I think I've mentioned this, but your landing sides may be different if you offset your staircase and your stairs, so just be aware of that. Make sure you're putting things on the right side when you construct everything. And we'll do our last two pieces and we'll be finished. So our stair side, like that, line it right there. And finally the back, unless you want to have a secret hiding place. Now, we're going to put the back on. You don't technically need the back to be decorative paper. It's a small piece, so usually it's not a big problem. I printed this on 8.5 by 11 paper for the decorative paper. It took one sheet, not even a full sheet, for all of the decorative pieces. Just going to push this down. Pull that back out. Don't push in the center because there's no support in there, just around the edges. Okay, so this is our completed staircase with the railing, and you can see that it's a little tricky to build at times, but it goes together nicely and certainly is very easy to design. So there you go. I hope you will have a reason to use it at some point when you build your own 3D house.